Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing how to print onto a tumbler and get your print to line up with the manufacturer's engraved logo. It's a little bit involved, but a couple practices and you'll get it down. Let's take a look. So to make this a little bit easier, we're going to break it out into a couple sections. First one is we're going to take a look at the pre-print rotation. It rotates just a little bit before it starts printing, so that little bit of rotation can actually cause your alignment to be off a little bit. Next one after that, we're going to take a look at setting up the artwork, and then finally sending it over to the printer to get it printed and lined up properly. So one thing that I've discovered in trial and error is when you put the tumbler into the printer and you send the print over to it, it actually rotates just a little bit before it starts printing, which can cause it to be off-center a little bit from your logo. So what we're going to do is we're going to print a line on the tumbler, and then we're going to go back in and then line that first line up and then print another line, and that way we can see how much of a rotation that we're getting and be able to use that to get it lined up properly. So in here in Flexi, I just created this line right here. It's only about a half an inch wide and then a 1/10 of an inch thick. So we'll send this over to the printer. So we'll go up to here, and then I'll choose rotary CMYK. There we go, rotary jig CMYK. Select that and send that over. And now we'll go over to Vertilith, and we'll see that it popped up right here. So I'll go get the tumbler placed in the printer, and then we'll hit submit, and we'll see where that one lands. Alright, so we have the tumbler loaded in here. I just have some tape on it because this is just going to be a demonstration on this tumbler, and I don't want to ruin a expensive tumbler for just a demonstration. So we have it loaded in here. Now, if you need any assistance on getting the rotary all set up, we actually have another video that'll walk you through all that. So I just have it set so that the tape is up on top, and we'll go ahead and send the print over. Alright, so we got that first line printed, so the next thing we need to do is get it lined up with your top dead center. Alright, so to get it lined up perfectly with your top dead center, right here there is actually a little notch, and that represents your center of the top of the rotary where it's going to print. So using the bar that we use for checking our clearance, if you move this up and down, you can feel there's a little notch where it falls inside of. Then the line that printed originally, we're going to line that up so it falls right in line right there. And that gives us our top dead center. So now when we send that line the print again, it's going to rotate this direction just a little bit before it starts printing, and then we'll be able to measure between those two lines and know how much of a rotation we get on this specific size of tumbler to be able to compensate that when we actually send the design over. So now that we're done printing, we can see right here, this is where it printed first, and then when we aligned it up at top dead center, this is where it came out. So we'll measure that, and it is about a 15 millimeter rotation that we're getting to move the bed from the parked position to the start print position. So we'll just make note of that, and then we'll use that here pretty soon. So our next step is to set up the artwork. We have these two boxes right here. The height represents the circumference of the tumbler, and the width of the box represents the powder-coated portion of the tumbler itself. And we have the Yeti logo right here, and I have that placed in the exact spot that it falls on the tumbler, so that way we can get the artwork placed properly so it's not over the top of that when we go to print. So go ahead and import the image that we're wanting to print, just like so. I'll get it rotated, so we'll do 90 degrees to get it in the proper orientation. Now let's go ahead and size it to fit. Get that guy right there. So now we'll go ahead and select these two guys, and then we'll get them lined up horizontally. So now our logo is lined up perfectly horizontal to the Yeti logo. And it looks like the spacing we have pretty good between the top of the powder coating and the design, and the bottom of the design and the top of the Yeti logo. So I'm happy with that right there. Now, if we were doing a print on both sides, for instance, if we wanted to print the same design on the opposite side, then we would set that in this area here. But for the demonstration, we're doing just the one side. So we can go ahead and delete this box. That way, as the printer is printing, it's going to just rotate the distance of the box that we have here. It's not going to rotate all the way around the tumbler like it would have if we left both boxes there. Alright, now that we have all of it lined up properly, we're going to go ahead and delete the Yeti logo. And we also need to set the box to transparent. The reason we need to set this to transparent is make sure that the logo stays in the proper spot. If we don't, then the logo will actually shift up and this direction as well. But by setting it transparent, it will actually hold the proper spot and it'll fall where it's supposed to. So all we do is come over to stroke, and we're going to select transparent, and now we are ready to send it over to Vertilith. So go up here and click on the Vertilith rip icon, and we are going to choose white plus CMYK right here for the rotary. So we got the rotary jig, white plus CMYK, select that, and we'll send that over to Vertilith. Alright, so now over here in Vertilith, we have our file that came through, and as you can see, by default, it's wanting to print white through the whole thing, so we need to change that real quick. So double click on it, bring it in, and go to printer profile. Then go down here to our white generation, and we're going to change that to uncolored pixels of specified density. So now we'll toggle color off, and we can see that it's only going to put white down in that area. So we are good to go there. So we'll go ahead and save this. The next step will be to get the tumbler loaded into the rotary. And once we have that done, then we'll come back, click on submit, and we'll be ready to print. Alright, so what we need to do on here is the center of the logo. We want to put a piece of tape up here and then mark as best as you can eyeball the center of the logo. Then we're going to rotate counterclockwise on here and put another mark 90 degrees on this side as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the tumbler on here, and all of this is just a circle that's the same circumference of the tumbler, and then we just put a crosshairs right there so we can get everything lined up. So we have the mark lined up right here, and we can rotate this guy over, and then we'll put our 90-degree mark on the piece of tape right here as well. Alright, so now that we have that done, this is where that measurement that we got from doing the test comes into play. This is exactly 90 degrees rotated from here. Now we need to add that 15 millimeters from here over to here to compensate for how much the bed rotates before it hits your 0 mark to start printing. So with the tape measure, right here is our 15 millimeter mark, and we just need to put another line right here. Now this line is where we're going to line it up for our top dead center in the jig. Alright, so we're back here at the printer. We'll go ahead and load the tumbler in there, and we want to get these guys lined up on top. So here's our 90-degree rotation from the logo that we're wanting to get centered on top of. And then right here, it's a little hard to see, is our 15 millimeter difference that we got from when we did that test earlier. So we're going to go ahead and get this lined up top dead center, and then we'll be able to send the print over. So using the bar, we'll go ahead and get that guy nestled in that little notch there. And then we'll rotate this guy up until we get that lined up. And now we are good to send it over to the printer. Now that we're done, pull it off and take a look. And I would say that is perfectly centered. So as you can see, it's a little bit involved getting these to line up perfectly with the maker's mark on them. But with a little bit of practice, just like so, you'll be able to get them lined up perfectly as well. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and as always, have a great day.